Alright, all good? All ready to go?
All set.
Hell yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. I know we got a few people on stream as well, so say hello.
What's up, everybody?
But I had just had a few questions about life in the top three.
Well, it's not top three anymore. I dropped down to fourth.
Oh, God forbid. You're in the fourth place. But
Well, no, it's annoying because this guy that overtook my spot, I was 9,000 points ahead of him when I went to sleep. Woke up and he was 5,000 points ahead of me.
that's insane that you went up 9,000 points while you're sleeping. And that actually is a good segue to my first question, which was how difficult is it to maintain your status in the top three? It sounds like if you can go to sleep and he's up 9,000 points, that's pretty difficult.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it literally, if you fall behind when you're in the top three or even in the top 10, you're just playing catch up. And some of these guys have either they're hackers, which I don't necessarily think so, but I think a lot of these guys have dropped a lot of money on the game. So once they get ahead of you, good luck catching back up.
Yeah, like number one has a level 30 Ghidorah, like level 30 Mothra. It's like so crazy. Like how do you even with your deck? I don't know what you're using currently, but the deck when I view your profile is a very off meta deck. Can you is
Oh,
that
yeah,
your correct deck, or can you explain how that
no,
works, or is that the wrong deck?
that's the wrong deck. I was using that deck back in God, it must have been the end of season 1 or beginning of season 2. Yeah, no, I don't. That deck is garbage.
So they haven't updated. All right. So what are you using now then? What are you using now?
Mostly, I'm experimenting a little with a couple of them, but primarily I'm using a Mecha Godzilla deck that does have, Ghidorah, Mothra, Ultima. Uh, I see the way that a lot of other people, they're still using Godzilla as the leader, which I can see some value to that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Godzilla is just too valuable as a unit to put him as the leader. He hits so hard and he tanks so well. So
Oh, I see.
Mechagodzilla as a leader, not great, but he's a decent substitute. He can soak up damage pretty well when he has to. But yeah, it's pretty much the same as the meta. The only thing I'm missing is Jet Jaguar.
Still, you don't got him yet?
No, I have gotten horrible luck with all of my expeditions.
Nice. All right. Well, you hate to see it, but I have faith that you'll get him soon enough. You'll get him.
Oh, I'll get them soon enough, but I'm not a big fan of the singular point design, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be heartbroken if I don't get JJ.
That's fair. That is definitely fair. We have a question in the chat. I don't know if you have chat up, but we got a question saying how many hours do you have to play to maintain being in the top three or top five at this point?
Oh, good lord. It literally at this point is almost like a full work day. I mean, I'm lucky enough. I'm a stay-at-home parent, and we're in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of summer here. I got free time to be on here as much as I want, but it does take up about 8, 9, sometimes 10 hours, depending on how hard you want to push. Just when you're free to play, then the only real balance this game has, the only way you can make up that difference, is just putting in those hours of grinding.
Interesting. So you gotta grind just like a ton to stay up there. Nothing like too more crazy than that. It's just a matter of how much time you can soak in.
That is pretty much it.
And I
I mean,
imagine
I
it's
got
easier
lucky
now,
when,
right? With the reduced, you lose less trophies now.
oh yeah, that has made a huge difference. I mean, there's people out there that have said, I've seen it in chat a couple of times, that I must lose all the time with my deck. I lose a fair amount, but I'm usually going on about a 9-10 win streak before I run into a loss. So, I mean, wouldn't be losing a huge amount of trophies even from
Mm-hmm.
last season, but this season with only losing 10 or 11 at a time, It has made life so much easier to maintain your position on the leaderboard. Doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I gotta imagine that a lot of the people going like, "Oh, you're probably losing a lot with that deck," or seeing your deck as it is on the leaderboard, which is, as we now know, is wrong. We were all under the assumption like, "Wow, this is like a crazy deck. Like, are we just like messing up? Can we not replicate this magic? Like, he's in the top three with this like nonsense deck. Like, what is going on?"
Yeah, that don't replicate that deck that they're displaying. That deck is trash. I mean, I don't even run Hedera anymore because Ghidorah does the same thing and he hits a heck of a lot harder and you don't have to worry about that evolution time. You got that
Mm-hmm.
splash damage from him. Hedera, when I see that, it's just like, what are you guys doing?
It's like a free space. It's like a bingo free space right now. Like header on the swarms, you see him in the deck and like, all right, well, they're actually using like a what is like a 5-man deck instead of 6 or whatever.
Well, with the swarms, they have their usage. If you need to pull aggro and get them off one of your evolving pieces like Terrestris or Mothra Larva, then they're really good at drawing the heat off them.
Mm-hmm.
But Hedera, for the cost and for the fact that he doesn't really do a whole lot, it just doesn't make any sense to run him unless you've got nothing else.
Yeah, I mean I was a big fan of Hedera, but I do have to agree with you that Ghidorah does what he does but better. So I agree with you
Yeah,
on that one.
if you've got nothing else that you can use to get that splash damage to deal with when you do run into those swarms,
Mm-hmm.
Hedera is still solid, but the fact that Ghidorah is a flying unit makes him so much more valuable. Anybody who doesn't have Ghidorah, my heart just breaks for them because they're gonna get slaughtered.
Yeah, it's just like right now, like even besides Ghidorah, like flying units is like the meta. Like Mothra and Batra even like are seeing a ton of usage. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm even starting to see Megaguirus on there more, and I'm not a big Megaguirus fan. I'm Rodan, Team Rodan all the way. But flying units, because every one of them, they can hit any unit, doesn't matter. If you got a ground unit, well, then you're in some trouble.
Yeah, like as soon as like Hedera is great flying form, and then as soon as he becomes the normal form and he loses that flight, it's a sealed deal with him, which is unfortunate. But there's just I don't know, the meta right now is just so crazy. There's so much going on that's like never gone on in this game before. All the flying units are now like super viable.
Oh yeah, and see, I got lucky at the end of last season when they announced they were going to be rebalancing the 4-star units. I decided, you know what? I'm just going to hang on to all my 4-star battle pieces.
Mhm.
I'm going to hoard all my tokens. Once I see what the stats, the rebalance stats are,
Mhm.
then I'll decide whether or not to pour my resources into it. And King Ghidorah, once I saw his stats, it's like, oh, he's got to be on the team. There's no two ways about that.
Oh
He's
yeah.
just too good. So I started the season with a level 5 Ghidorah.
That's insane. I started with level 3 and I haven't gotten a Ghidorah since the season started, but when I saw the buffs as well, I was like, oh man, I'm going to be winning so much. And now like I'm down from the top 150. I'm like in the top like 800 now because everyone's Ghidorah is like insane. But that's very smart that you waited for the patch notes to come out before you upgraded anything. That's actually I didn't even think about that. I saw the 4-star buff was coming and I just started immediately upgrading everyone in case like someone was going to be really powerful. But it's actually probably a lot smarter to do what you did, which was hoard your gold and your shards to see which one is going to be better so you're not wasting money on like someone like maybe Biollante, for example. I'm not saying she's bad, but I would
Well,
pick Ghidorah over Biollante.
Biollante is a sleeper. As a unit, not very good, not in the current meta, but her leader ability, because of the duration on it is so long,
Mhm.
is absolutely insane. So don't sleep on Biollante, but be careful if you're gonna run her because she is fragile as hell. but with her leader ability, buffing movement speed in water and buffing range damage, that fits in so well with this meta. So as
Mm-hmm.
long as you can keep your leader safe, as long as you got a wall out there, a tank like Anguirus or Godzilla 89, Biollante is going to be, she's going to be difficult to counter
Mm-hmm.
once, and I'm sure they're going to rebalance again. And once they do, I think Biollante is going to be a part of the new meta.
Oh yeah, I think that 100%. And honestly, part of me is regretting not mentioning Biollante in the video I made about Godzilla 21, how he's just the DPS king. And I didn't mention Biollante and her buff to the range units. It's like for 40 seconds, it's like a 20% damage increase. Like that's a make or break. Like that's a huge amount of time to be using a buff like that. Like Godzilla 89's buff is what, like it's like 15 seconds for 50% damage or something like that.
Yeah, it's really whether or not you're going for a blitz style attack, or if you're anticipating that you're gonna take the leader down in a couple of waves. If you have strong enough units, if you've got a strong enough Terrestris or Ultima and Ghidorah, then definitely you want to probably build that around Godzilla because the damage increase is more significant.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're kind of moderately leveled and you know you're going to be spending a little time chipping away at your opponent, then Biollante is probably the way to go. But you just have to be careful because King Caesar and Gigan can just absolutely wreck Biollante if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, I was playing this morning right after I woke up, and I just wasn't paying attention. And the opponent was using a Biollante, and they put Gigan and Caesar on both sides of the board, and then I wasn't paying attention. And before I even blinked, they were right up in my face, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Hold on." It was so scary,
Oh
but yeah,
yeah.
Biolante's a sleeper, man. I regret not putting her a little bit maybe higher on my tier list, or maybe not mentioning her more in the Godzilla 21 video that I made, because she's really good.
She's gonna be good, I think, down the road once people have had a chance to build her up, and once there's a more stable meta going on, because it's shifted from season to season so
Mm-hmm.
far, and not just in small ways, in huge ways.
Yeah.
Way back in season one, Anguirus was just the be all end all. He tanked
Everything.
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 He even tanked Godzilla for me a few times, Godzilla 89, and with the way that Godzilla hits, man, he hits like a freight train. So anybody tanking him was just, yeah, they were out of luck unless it was Anguirus.
Yeah, like the whole first season was how fast can you get your Anguirus to the end of to your enemy's leader. Like it was a race. Like if you got your Anguirus over there with like the destroy larva swarm or the missiles to block, you win. Like it was so crazy. And did they just
Oh
kneecapped
yeah, that
Anguirus the next season? They buffed the hell out of Godzilla 89.
Godzilla 89, for my money, is still the best single unit in the game. I mean, he's, in my opinion, the most well balanced. Yeah, he's a tank and he hits hard, but he's absolutely screwed against flying units.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that they actually made him really powerful, but not like an invincible unit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like that he's definitely, you're able to deal with him because there's such a good amount of slows in the game, like Minilla, or you could even use the freezing Sonde to stop him, or Jet Jaguar with the 2 blocks is really good at stopping him too. But he's just so powerful. I agree that he's like one of the better units.
Yeah, it's in terms of balance, I don't think they could have done better than what they did with Godzilla, because I mean, he's the star of the show. The game is named for him. So they got to make him shine. But to do that while at the same time making him something that you can reasonably take down without that much effort is it's really speaks to the quality of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they could just fix some of these damn bugs that are going on.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I had that question on my board next. Was what bugs do you think are the most frustrating, especially at your level?
The most frustrating one at my level is, and I'm not 100% sure if it's a bug or a hack, but every now and again you'll get into a match where you can't summon units. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically frozen, but the match is still going on, and you can't summon any units. Your opponent is still summoning units, the timer is still running, but none of your units are coming out, and it seems like almost like someone else is controlling you. So and in one case, it even summoned a unit that I didn't even have on my team. Like,
Yeah, I had that
all of a
too.
sudden, there was an air base on my team. It's like, what the hell?
Yep, I had that as well. It was like I was playing, and then suddenly there was a Mogera, and I was like, I'm not even using him in my deck. It's so insane. Part of me thinks maybe the game matched three people into one match, and someone just got like booted, but didn't get the full boot. So you're in the match, but someone else is playing. I don't know. It just seems like so
That's
ridiculous.
my That's my best guess. And the problem with that is quite simple. The reason it's so frustrating for anybody that's going to be trying to remain in the top 10, especially, you need those points. And if you run into that bug, forget it. You just have to take the loss.
Yeah. The only time though I will say that I had that bug, I won. Whoever was playing for me did a damn good job because they crushed the other team. But I just had, every one of my units shadowed out on the board, unusable. But their Mogera, listen, did a swell enough job for me that I got the trophies for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rare happening. It happened to me last season, actually, the very first time I ever encountered it. I managed to win that one, but any of those bugs that basically kill the match are the most frustrating. Now, the loading screen bug where it's searching for opponents, at least you're not losing trophies over that. You just got to
Hmm.
restart the game. It's frustrating, but it doesn't break the game.
Yeah.
This particular bug, though, it's a nightmare to deal with, especially when you grind as much as I do. I mean, you're going to run into it sometimes a couple of times an hour.
Yeah, that's super frustrating. I couldn't imagine. I'm not grinding to the amount that you're grinding. I'm logging on, doing what I need to do, gonna like log on to record a video or whatnot. But the amount that you have to grind to maintain your top five status, I bet I can't imagine how frustrating this probably is.
Well, yeah, it's like what's his name said on your last interview. Just call me a glutton for punishment, because that's what it is. It's rough. I mean, I enjoy the hell out of it, despite the
Mm,
bugs. I think this is a very good first effort from Toho Games to put out a game that is this addictive, and I mean, the character models in the game, the art, I mean, it's all been very well executed. Yeah, they got to work on these bugs, and yeah, there's still some balancing issues, some gameplay issues that they need to fix.
hmm.
I mean, they need to fix the targeting priority like you wouldn't believe.
Oh yeah, Rodin's targeting priorities like all over the place. Like who knows where he's gonna
Oh,
go?
it's and they got a little bug with King Caesar too, where he kind of runs at an angle and runs into the wall and just gets stuck there. I mean, that's cost me more than once. Then you get like your leader will start focusing on uh, one threat that's the major threat, and then all of a sudden there's another one over there. They just completely forget that they've got a Godzilla in their face.
Yeah, I get so lost in all the units, and especially when there's so many on the field. Like on stream just now, we made someone rage quit. But like when there's so many units, you just like, oh my gosh. Especially with the Godzilla. Any of the Godzillas, really, and you see them coming up. If you're not looking and not paying attention, that's deadly. That's a game ender,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
don't. Yeah, you don't sleep on any of the Godzilla units. If you do, you're done.
Dude.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I've had someone who is significantly lower level. Now, granted, I was running my Biollante deck, but I wasn't paying attention, and I let them get their Godzilla 21 in. He was
Mm-hmm.
probably maybe level 2, maybe level 3. Absolutely wrecked my Biollante, and I was like, hey, wait a second. I was just winning a second ago. What happened here?
Oh yeah, the sleeper, the Godzilla 21 with the infinite death beam is an incredible addition. It's so
Oh, yeah.
powerful if
Well,
you have it like a level 3 or above.
Oh yeah, once he becomes a more common drop in the coming
Mm-hmm.
months, he's going to be a big part of the meta probably for a long time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's a little bit on the fragile side right now, but I imagine once you get him up to 3, 4, 5 or higher, he's going to be a nightmare for anyone to have to deal with.
Even without him just like being fragile, the fact that even if they nerfed him, the fact that he does damage, his damage percentage increases the longer he's firing on the unit. That kind of ability like goes a long way. Like even in Marvel Strike Force, when there's units that have abilities at scale or that are not necessarily capped to like a certain power, because in Marvel Strike Force there are characters that have like normal
Oh
like base
yeah,
damage or like percent base
percent base
damage. So the
damage.
fact that his is a
Yep.
percent increase is probably he's gonna be around for a long, long time. I think
Oh
he's gonna be
yeah, and
very good.
you mentioned in Strike Force. Well, they've got Minerva, who's a couple of years old in Strike Force, but because she's got that percentage based damage, she's
Mm-hmm.
still
Still
in a
being
part of
used
the
in
meta.
Dark Dimension 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like it's she's super important because like even like Phoenix and Ebony Maw, and I know we're talking about Strike Force now, but it's in the same ballpark of they have a percent base damage in one shot. They just do X amount of damage, but in this, over time you go up a percent of damage, which that's super powerful. So
Oh
even
yeah,
if they docked Godzilla 21's attack by 100 points, okay, just wait 3 seconds and it's gonna come like it's gonna be back.
oh yeah. I imagine they will probably do some rebalancing with him because I think he does need a little bit higher of the health pool because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of low right now. I mean, I've seen Minya wreck Godzilla 21.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and that's just hilarious. I absolutely hate Minya. I don't care how useful he is. I'm never running him.
I saw
But
yesterday someone put a Godzilla 21 against mine, and my minion didn't even take a lick of damage. Mine was level 21 or 20. I'm sorry, and he didn't even
see,
take any
Minya is one
damage.
of those that I've seen Minya do some crazy shit if you leave him alone too long. I've actually had him completely stun lock my level 25 Godzilla 89
Yeah.
and just done. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's broken as all hell. And it's from a character that I absolutely cannot stand.
Oh, I hate Minya. I hate him, but I use him. I think he's so goofy now in this game, the way he waddles around, and he's just too good not to throw around.
Hey, look, I'm a Godzilla super fan. At one point in time, I owned every single film, both Japanese version and English language versions of all his films, and in the entire series of in the entire Godzilla franchise, the only kaiju that I absolutely hate is Minya. I mean, they when they came back and they released in the 90s a newer updated version of him with baby Godzilla and little Godzilla, I think they should have made that the de facto Minya for the series.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that they have is just, oh, I can't, I will never like that character. And that is the only reason I won't run him. I could probably win a lot more frequently running Minya, but I just can't bring myself to use that little butterball.